people don't care about whether you know how light works better than someone else. They
don't care about your gear or lights.
They want a good headshot, and they want it to advance their career or to, you know, increase their reputation as an expert, to get more clients. I think it's what sets me and others apart from the rest of the industry is so many people just tell them to smile. They take 50 pictures and like, which one do you like better? Yeah. And they show them the back of the camera and they all look the same because they were just standing there thinking, I'm gonna smile now. Like, you're not gonna get anything out of them. Yeah. So, and that doesn't convey them well to other people, so. Yeah.
Today we're back with another FYN Creative digital success story. We're in a neighborhood right here in Washington, D.C. called Eastern Market. And we're at Jon Meadows' studio where he does high-end photography. Jon's a fellow entrepreneur and creative that I met through LinkedIn. And that's what we're here to talk about, is how is he growing his business on small budget, small resource, and just getting started, only 6 months young into his business, by utilizing all the tips, tricks, and tactics of creating content and posting content on LinkedIn. So I'm here with Jon Meadows. Jon, thank you so much for doing this. How did we wind up here today? Give me the 2 or 3 minute version.
We crossed paths on LinkedIn,
Hello.
as you would expect. How I got into photography is kind of a roundabout story. I always planned to do law and then politics once I got into high school. I did paralegal work in New York City for 6 months and got to meet some lawyers and work with some lawyers and decided I did not want to work with lawyers. So I skipped right into politics. I did 4 statewide campaigns. I worked on the Hill, on the House side, Capitol Hill, the House side for 2 years. And I worked for a nonprofit in the political space for a little over a year before going full-time into headshot photography. I knew that I wanted to do headshots, so
when did you first pick up a camera?
I picked up I guess I kind of got interested in photography when I was in London for a semester before Oxford. Okay. And people were just telling me, like, you have an eye. I was just taking pictures of the stuff I was seeing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, maybe I have an eye. Like, photography actually sounds kind of interesting. But it was 6 years later that I actually bought my DSLR. I was taking pictures of bugs in Louisiana, and I tried to get into real estate photography because I wanted to make money with photography. And I did not want to shoot people.
And here we are.
Now I'm shooting like this. I'm like telling people, like, you need to go trim your nose hair. Yeah, I thought it would be awkward, but now I'm like super up close, so not what I would have expected. Through the real estate photography job, the guy I was practicing with gives his clients a photo shoot, and the idea is that it's a family in their home after they set up their house. But first guy wanted headshots. I had to take it because it was money for photography, which is what I wanted. Yep,
someone's gonna pay you. Generally say yes to every gig. Yeah.
And it didn't go well.
Really? So, what happened?
Well, the lighting was terrible. He brought me to the Eisenhower Executive Office building. He was in the National Security Council, and it's a cool building, but the lighting is horrible.
And were you probably working with your U-Haul boxes at that point?
No, not yet. I had my speed light. I remember I took a paper towel and looped it on both sides to make it a little bigger. But it just didn't turn out well. He was okay with it. He thought they were good. I was like, I want to do this better.
Was there one moment or one class or what really got you to this point where you feel like you can now deem yourself as a professional headshot photography? Was it this class or? It was
the class I'm working with Peter. I didn't want to shoot people because I thought it would be awkward and I wouldn't know what to say to them, and I would be futzing around with my gear and trying to figure out what aperture it should be at, and headshot photography can be very standardized. So like I have my settings dialed in, I can just set up, I know it's going to work and look great. And he emphasizes working with people and getting expressions that convey what you want rather than just like telling them, no, smile.
That's probably like 80% of the process, right?
Yeah, I think it's what sets me and others apart from the rest of the industry is so many people just tell them to smile. They take 50 pictures and like, which one do you like better? And they show them the back of the camera and they all look the same because they were just standing there thinking, I'm gonna smile now. Like, you're not gonna get anything out of them. So, and that doesn't convey them well to other people, so.
was this a clean break that in March of this year, 2018, that you started, or were you, like you said, one of your first headshots was in the Eisenhower building, like, were you dabbling in side hustling this, or was it just a clean break where you made the?
I was. So I took my first headshot while I was working on the Hill, but then I started really learning when I went to the nonprofit, and I was charging some by at least March of 2017. So I had a year of charging, and my prices went up, and I got better, and I got practice, and my goal was actually to make a salary kind of money part-time while I was still having the job that had the set yearly pay.
Yep. Getting paid every 2 weeks.
Do that for a couple years so that I knew when I went full-time, I'm already making a salary, so if I spend all my time on it, it's going to be more, but I didn't quite get there. So I'm learning all sorts of things, email campaigns and SEO and website conversion techniques and pricing and networking and prospecting and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden you take on a big to-do list when you work for yourself.
People don't care about whether you know how light works better than someone else. They
don't care about your gear or lights.
They want a good headshot, and they want it to advance their career or to increase their reputation as an expert, to get more clients. So you kind of need to be an expert, and then don't talk about it. You need to solve people's problems, and I've converted from my natural inclination, which was to talk about what I know,
technical side,
and point out like this is better than that, and this is why, and this is how I arrange my lights. And I've switched to talking about, I think, what people are actually buying and what it can do for them. And I think I've seen, I've been changing a lot, but I think that's generally why I've seen an uptick. We're still early in the business.
Yeah, I mean, you're 7-8 months, but like you said on our walk over here, the last 2 months, like you're having a little bit of a hockey stick moment, which is good. Yeah. So something's working. Yeah. You just need to figure out like what trigger is it, or is it a bunch of levers?
It's a bunch of things. I know my messaging can still get better. I need to be tweaking my messaging regularly, weekly.
And I think that's a good point to people out there. To like, you can't just. So many large organizations think they spend so much time, they spend 3 months evaluating their voice and their messaging and their brand, and then they let that sit for a year and they don't evolve it or test it. And I think it's an ever-evolving story and message.
You want to quickly convey your value. You want to get people interested. Headshot photography can be something where it's very picture-driven. And I know some people who are switching over, but their initial inclination will show their best headshot on the front page, big, like they're trying to impress their clients with the picture. Above the fold is talking about newspaper days, where you got to get people to buy the newspaper, and you put the big story a little bit, and you put the rest inside. They buy it, they open up and read it. You got to get them to scroll. So you want calls to action. If you want them to buy a headshot, you have a schedule a headshot session button, right? Like very clearly, you're making it as easy for them to book you as possible, and as easy as you're making them inclined to learn more about you by scrolling.
Yeah, and I think that above the fold, so whether that's obviously somebody searching on a desktop or laptop, but really it's kind of like above the thumb, right? Because your site has to be mobile friendly.
The fold is even smaller on mobile.
And I think the last thing I want to talk about before we go to your studio and really dive into why we're here to LinkedIn is, you mentioned you've been testing out some SEO, some digital AdWords, things like that. It necessarily doesn't tie into the digital story part, but I think it is a useful marketing tactic, and maybe you can offer some tips to people out there that do have a website, because I know even for me that's an area I don't spend enough time, but I know that it helps and people should be doing it. But is there anything strategically you're doing with your website, especially being centrally located to DC here?
I've been working on my website to convert better, make it easier for people to book. I'm working on my SEO, getting your H tags sorted out. So
what's an H tag?
They are coded text that tells Google, it's basically a structure of your website. And a lot of people use it for styling, because H1 looks big and bold and they just want big and bold there, but it's a tool to help Google know what your website is about, so that when people search for it, it ranks higher. Getting backlinks, so other reputable sites link to your site, that increases your site's rating, which increases it. And then it also depends on the interaction rate of people visiting your website. If 50% of your people click your website and then leave within a second, Google's going to say, okay, it's not what people are looking for. So anything you can do to make them scroll also helps with SEO. And then while I'm building that, I'm doing some paid advertising to get my my link up there where people see it when they search, especially DC headshots. That's what I'm focusing on, my keyword. And then Facebook, I need to set this up like soon. I'm planning to use Facebook ads to retarget people who have been to my website, just to keep me in their mind. It's cheaper than ads like to people who haven't been to my website through Google Pixel and the Facebook Pixel that I have on my website.
So everything you're doing is super strategic. But the number one question I have is, you went to school, you know, for politics and law and English, and you worked in that space for a while. How did you learn this? Like, somebody is like, out there is like, I need to be doing this. I definitely know what Jon's talking about. I need to do, but where did you learn it? How can people learn it?
I took a course from other headshot photographers who are killing it in Chicago. So it was headshot sales and marketing specifically. So they've helped a lot.
Cool. Anything else we should know about you before we go check out your studio? Or anything else you want to share about what you're up to and what it's like to be an entrepreneur and photographer? And
I'm stretching myself in photography. I'm only doing headshots right now. I only do studio headshots right now, but I'm branching out into environmental headshots. I think it's just important to keep on learning and trying to grow. Mindset is super important for me, and pricing. I love pricing and mindset. I think that has helped me be successful. So from the beginning, I was charging enough and felt confident in it that as I gained customers, it really made a difference. I know some people, like, I'm not, you know, I don't have years of experience in this, I'm not going to charge very much. But then if you get 10 clients, it like doesn't matter. You have to be confident in what you're doing, the value of your work. You have to charge something around what you think you're really worth, believe it, and then pitch people. And there are a lot of people. So if you get no's, this guy could say no to me, and that's okay.
And
there
you're
are lots
closer
of other people.
to a yes.
Lots of other people.
You have to. I'm a big believer. You have to build up. If you're going to do any, whether it's entrepreneurial or not, or you're going to put yourself out there, you have to build up a no tolerance. You know, because you're going to get shot down, but then you're going to get 10% yeses and wins and things, people that want to work with you.
I don't need to do 500,000 headshots of everyone in DC.
Yeah, you'd be super busy. They need 5 more.
I'd be good with like 200 this year.
Yeah. Is there a tool, Jon, that a digital tool or resource that you could not have lived without in the last 8 months that's helping your business?
I'm focused completely on LinkedIn. So, I mean, not exactly completely, 99% on LinkedIn, because I think that's where my clients are. I think it's super important to know who your clients are. If you, some photographers do well and they're not charging a whole lot, but they have tons of clients and they shoot all the time, and that's fine, that's their client. You have to know that if you're a higher priced brand, that not everyone's your client, and you can't take it personally if someone likes your work but doesn't want to pay you for it. That's not your customer. And
you have to choose what platform to be on, especially people in our position that are starting out or that are small business owners. You have to kind of choose the platform that's going to best reach your
Sure. If I were shooting models and actors, I wouldn't be on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you'd be on Instagram using hashtag lifestyle, hashtag fashion, hashtag New York Fashion Week, like all that stuff, right? Yeah. So I think that makes sense.
You're looking for attention.
Yep.
And you have to go where the people that you want to reach are looking.
Yep. Yeah. Let's go back to your studio, check it out, see you actually in business, actually doing a headshot for a client, and we'll then talk about LinkedIn and how you're actually doing that then.
Okay, let's do it. I chose LinkedIn because I think I'm focusing on professional headshots, not actor headshots or other kinds of headshots. And I figured LinkedIn was something I didn't have to pay for while I worked on my SEO. And they're not in a buying mood there, but it's for professional purposes.